Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome into the preview of Michigan and Michigan State basketball tonight in East Lansing. All set and ready to go for tonight, an 8 o'clock start. It's exciting. This is the time. These are the kind of games that you look forward to all year long. And then when both teams have outstanding records and are ranked high, you like that. And you like that when you're a Michigan fan and you see how they came out this year and how they played. Not so much recently, but with a victory tonight, that would change a lot of things and how Michigan fans are thinking about their team. We've got some scenarios to throw at you about how this thing could go down. As always, if you're one that is catching this live and you have a thought about the basketball game tonight, well, type it in. We'll get to it. I'm interested to see what you have to say. What do the Michigan fans think about this game tonight? You fired up? Is it ho hum? You missing football? Are you poised to do the double header, hockey wise, basketball? That's what's on tap for me. We'll get to those scenarios. I got a prediction for you. And we'll start with numbers. A lot of numbers that can carry the day when you think about this particular game. The numbers 3 and 7 are the first two, and that is easily figured out because Michigan is the number 3 team of the country, and Michigan State is the number 7 team. Doesn't happen very often that the teams it's a top 10 matchup. Very infrequently. If you look at Ken Pom, the numbers 1 and 2, they're the number 1 and number 2 defenses, efficiency rated by Ken Pom, State being number 1, Michigan being number 2. And, the numbers 8, 11, 14, and 18, when you are a Michigan fan and you have followed this basketball team, Michigan has not had much success in East Lansing. In fact, this century, Michigan has just won those 3 times. In 2018, the last time, 2014, and 2011. That's the only time, 3 times they've won in 25 years up at the Breslin Center. So it's a tough place to play. We know that. And that's, to me, those numbers right there, if you're sitting around and then you say, we've done this. We've been doing this all year long. Take a look and say, how many games you think Michigan's going to lose? Where are they going to lose? This game, that game. This was one of those that you would point to and say, well, they'll probably lose this one. But instead of saying that, because you don't like to say that, you say, well, they'll probably split. Michigan has Michigan State the last game of the year. And so you say, they'll probably split. Michigan will get the last laugh, winning back in Ann Arbor in March before the Big Ten tournament. And I think that's very reasonable. That's a very reasonable pick and outlook for U of M. The other number is 71. And 71 is the age that Tom Izzo is turning tonight. You're not going to have too many more years. I don't know how many more years Tom Izzo is going to do it. Is he going to be there for past 75? I wouldn't think so, but he seems like Michigan's got a football coach at 66. Michigan State's got a basketball coach at 71. Everybody's like, we need young coaches and exciting and that are full of enthusiasm. I mean, they both have that. But from a Michigan standpoint, only so many times where you could serve up on Izzo's 71st birthday a loss where he'd have to eat it at home. Talk about ruining your birthday. That would do it. I don't know Tom Izzo that well, but from afar, I do know that would spoil his birthday, having to get prepared and everything else, and then lose that game and have to stand up in front of all of his Spartan faithful, the media that, he spoon feeds after the game, and he'd be so angry, up there on his 71st birthday. That would be a nice birthday present for Michigan fans to give him. So those are the numbers that I'm looking at when it comes down to this one. One thing I realize is that if I was talking about Michigan football special teams and looking at who might be the punt returners and kick returners, there'd be a lot more people that you should get more people drawn in. Football is just, it's king. Everybody loves it. It's an everyday type of thing. Basketball's not like that for a lot of people. Might tune in, check out the game and everything else, but it's kind of like, let's talk special teams. I get that. So I'm not expecting a lot of feedback. So if you are somebody that is a basketball fan, I liked it earlier this year. Someone sent me a message and said, how come you always talk about football? Let's hear you talk about basketball. I was like, oh, I like that. And then even once in a while, you get somebody say, what about a hockey team? And then when you're still going, you say, but what about women's basketball? It's like, okay, you got a point there. But it's like when, you see the numbers. I worked with so many writers over the years, and they see how many people click onto their articles. And whether it was somebody covering the Lions or somebody covering Michigan, if you write a story about the Lions, doesn't get twice the amount of clicks and readership. It gets like 100 times more, the clicks and the readership. And it's the same thing with Michigan football. I don't, it's just, we just love football so much. It's not really anything against basketball. It's just that people love football. And the angle you play, if you're somebody that wants to, talk about this game and get people going, you say, oh, you don't like basketball. This isn't a basketball school. Nobody cares. You would rather hear about 5 junior or sophomore recruits that Kyle Whittingham might be setting up a visit with than to talk about this game right here. And, there's truth to it. There's truth to that. That's just something, that you accept if you're a basketball fan, a hockey fan, that way. Michigan Go Blue 1324 likes them both. He likes basketball and football. He has been on the internet, on his phone, whatever. He says he saw some former MSU players post pictures with a Spartan peeing on a Michigan logo. So disrespectful. Win or lose tonight, F Michigan State. I would say that is very common, very par for the course on each side. This rivalry is not one that is played out when it's online, very friendly. And I saw Amari Burnett and I saw Tom Izzo, probably more of the combatants or the coaches said that this week, where they said, oh yeah, they hate one another, but they respect them. The fans, they don't respect each other. They hate them. In fact, if there's nothing, I see it. The two biggest, or the two things that Michigan fans enjoy the most are a Michigan win and a Michigan State loss. And even when Michigan loses, immediately it's like, oh yeah, but Michigan State, something. So that's part of the rivalry. It's nasty. And when it's online, it's or sports talk, it's just to me it's old. It's the same stuff. It's insults, blank you, all of this. The funny thing about all of that is that you go to a game of Michigan and Michigan State. Well, there's some people that can't go. I've got friends that cover Michigan in the media. They won't go to East Lansing because it's played out so much online that this person fears for his safety of going to East Lansing. He wouldn't go. You'd be afraid that he would be attacked by a Spartan mob. I mean, that's how bad it can be that way when you live it online. But when you go, it's funny when you go to a football game in Michigan State, where you're at either school and you're walking there and you just walk by and you're taking it all in, and you actually see the tailgates, and it's not all green and then all maize and blue over here and all green and white. They're mixed, and it looks like people are getting along and everybody having a good time. And you get into one of these places and hang out, and it's very odd that somebody will be in your face. They will be very respectful. They will be very nice, and you think, wow. And then you kind of look around, you see somebody off just outside of the canopy, and they'll be on their phone, and they're probably like, "Go to hell, Michigan," and then they come back in. Oh, hey, let's all have a great game, though. So that's probably a nature of all rivalries. Let's see if I can change this camera color. I think I can by clicking this. I like the maybe I can't do it. Yes, I can. Oh yeah, that's the color. It's the color I like right there. It's more of a subtle light. Maybe it's just my pale face that makes I don't know if it actually looks better. It makes me feel better with this particular hue when it comes through. All right, before I get to the scenarios, let's go to see if anybody else has a thought on any of the numbers or this game. Cut from different cloth is talking about, it's as simple as that. It's a great explanation. Why talk about things that people aren't interested in, as clearly shown by the response in viewership and clicks? Yeah, well, because, for me, I get that. Should probably just talk Michigan football all the time. And then, as a footnote, oh yeah, the basketball game's going to be played tonight. There are at least some. And as much as I like Michigan football, I don't think anybody likes Michigan football more than me. Grinding out a two deep or talking about the special teams, there's going to be plenty of time to do that. And for me, I like to really stay in the moment. I really like to be thinking about what's important right now. These special team scenarios or the juniors that are coming in, well, I get that that's going to be what it's going to draw people in, and there's going to be time for that for me. And if I don't have somebody telling me, hey, don't talk about basketball, nobody really cares, nobody really is going to click in, don't talk about hockey. I like those things myself. And so even if it's to a smaller audience, we're going to enjoy it. And what I think can happen, because it's difficult to do, because it's tough, because you sometimes feel like you're writing for yourself or you're talking for yourself and just 3 or 4 other people. If there's a few people along the way, it's like, man, maybe there's other things that there's other things to life. I get everything surrounding football and you just love it. It's all, being about it and all of that. But, taking a break and enjoying basketball, enjoying hockey. I mean, it's something that I do. I enjoy the seasons. I enjoy the different sports, and that's me. If you're just 100% football, I get it. I get it. And I get that you'll see something like this and be like, oh, I don't care. I mean, not that I understand. I understand how much people love football. I have a friend who loves just football, but he likes pro and college. And he likes fantasy football, and he was already talking about a mock draft from next year. And I like fantasy football, I really do. But I'm not looking at a mock draft. I'm not breaking down a mock draft in January. I mean, they haven't even played the Super Bowl. I usually wait till July for that. And look at how things are playing out. But that's it. I mean, I think people understand that part. And, that's it. Maybe we can bring some people along for the ride. Don says, why is the Breslin Center as a sports facility such a difficult place to play as a visiting team? Well, I think it has everything to do with the teams and the coach. I think what Tom Izzo has built and what he demands from his players, you see the same sets, you see the same kind of players, you know how they play. When I think of, I know that this game tonight, and if I had to say, how this game is going to play out, it's going to be a very physical game. Michigan State Tom Izzo demands that his players play tough. They got to be physical. They got to be tough-minded. It's football on the hardwood, and not all teams are ready for that. And it's a lot, I don't know if I was going to say a lot easier. It's easier when you have your fans that have seen this for over 25 years with a Tom Izzo team. They know what they're going to get. They know what buttons to push, and they are all in tune with making this a football game on the hardwood. Now, how the referees respond, if the game is officiated like it was the other night against Nebraska, that's going to really favor Michigan State. The refs were allowing a lot of physicality, and this is it. A lot of people, when they, you'll look at the refs and you'll say, Izzo's got the refs in their back pocket. Tom Izzo has orchestrated that the refs, not only, is he working them to not call fouls on his guys. Of course he wants them when his players are out there, but Tom Izzo wants the refs to swallow the whistle. And he always wants that, even if, he's got a deep team, but he doesn't have a deep team this year. Michigan has the deeper team. So if there's a lot of fouls being called, Tom Izzo is going to be losing his mind over there. And he's going to be working it. He's going to be saying, let him play, let him play. And it's not that the Breslin Center, it's just like pretty much any other place. It's about the teams, and, people like to say culture, but, I would say it is part of that. Because the way they play is hard hat, whatever, toughness. You don't like to hear it maybe if you're a Michigan fan, but that's it. It's a little bit like Michigan over the last few years when it came to turning the tables on Michigan State. We all know that it was Michigan's physicality and, the softness of Ohio State that Michigan got an upper hand. In basketball, there's no doubt that, and it helps a lot more in football, but it's, to even talk about it in basketball is weird. Because you're like, the refs, you could call things. You don't have to allow, guys guard, checking, like Tom Izzo likes to say, checking out. You got to put a body on somebody, and they know this is going to be the most physical game of the year. So that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. I don't know. I don't know if the Breslin rims are so tight. I'm not really sure about that. But if Tom Izzo thought that it would benefit his team by turning some screws on the rims to tighten them up, then he would do it. What would be interesting is if you could see him tightening them up, and then at halftime have somebody up there, and then you see him, wait, what's going on? He's loosening them up. I don't know. The old Boston Garden, they had dead spots in the floor. Well, the Celtics knew where those dead spots were, and when they played the Lakers, they put longer nets. I've got my dog underneath the table here. You can't be under here. You're too big to be under there. Out. Come on. You're too big. You're too big to be over there. Come on. You're excited. She's excited. Golden retriever. Look, she sat right down on the couch over here. Nice job. Good girl. You're a good girl. Okay. I forgot where I was at. Oh, so yeah, the Celtics, they would, when they would play the Lakers, they would make the nets longer so that the Lakers couldn't get the ball out of the net faster. It would slow them down. It's like in baseball when you're playing back when you would play the Cardinals, who played on turf, Whitey Herzog's team. They were fast. Whether it was Willie McGee, all these guys, they could really they really wanted to take extra bases, and they were a track team out on the bases. And if you were a team that had natural grass, well, you'd water and you'd let the grass grow, so the ball go a little slower, and it worked that way. Now, I'd say if you do that, that's going to allow a faster player to get down to first earlier or quicker. So maybe you'd want to cut the grass shorter if you had a fast team so the ball could get to you. That is making sense to me as I talk it over. Show the dog. I don't know. You want to come in here? Come over here. See if we can get you on the camera. There she is. How about a kiss? Kisses. There she is, making her debut. The assistant. Let's have a look over here. Tell everybody, yeah, you're a good dog. You're a good doggy. It's only gonna be a couple more minutes. Do you like Michigan tonight? Michigan, yay! All right. No more. You want some more camera time, huh? Yeah, you're not supposed to be up. You got to go sit. Yeah, there you go. Lay down. All right. That's it. Let's talk about the scenarios in this game and what it would mean. If Michigan loses this game, it will set some panic in for some of the fans. And I think a lot of Michigan fans will say, well, this is a little bit of what they expected because of the way Michigan has played. They especially the last 4 or 5 games, they've turned the ball over way too much. Their 3-point shooting has not been good. The last game, I didn't even know how they only, led for 2 minutes. 75-80% of the game, it looked like Nebraska was going to win the game. It was the same thing against Ohio State on Trey Burke night last Friday. 75% of the game, Michigan didn't look good. They didn't play well. They weren't passing well. They looked like they were going to get beat, and then they flipped the switch. You can't flip the switch up at Michigan State. So, if they lose, it's going to be okay. You kind of expect that Michigan has been this month in 2026, certainly in the last 4 or 5 games, they've showed some cracks. This is not the dominant team that was blowing people out by 40 at the half and looked like the greatest team analytically of all time, which they were for that stretch. And I think the chickens have come home to roost, which I don't really know what that means, but I think I know what it means when it comes to talking about a team playing with fire and finally getting burned. That's what it means. So I think a lot of people have expected that Michigan will lose. Tough place to play. They've only won there 3 times in most of our lifetime. And, it's Tom Izzo's birthday, and, State's licking their chops and waiting for this. And then if you're a Michigan fan, yeah, you get upset for a day or two, but then you say, okay, they'll be able to get them back. It's not the end of the world. In 2 weeks, they go to Purdue. That would be another chance to show the fan base or show the country that that Michigan should be taken seriously as a national championship, one of the national championship favorites. And as they head into tonight's play, they are only Arizona has better odds or shorter odds to be the national champ right now. So Michigan is looked at as obviously one of the teams that can win it all. And that gets me to, what if Michigan wins? If Michigan wins, they're back. They're back from where they were, where, a lot of people thought that they were the best team in the country and, better than Arizona. And this is great. And they are great. And let's get tickets for Indianapolis. Let's block off. Let's get the Final 4 seats. Let's do it now. And the stuff from the last couple games, that'll be out the window. Even if they do turn it over a lot and not hit a lot of threes, if they win, it's going to restore the faith and the fan base that this is a juggernaut. And for me, that's where I sit as I get to my prediction for this game. when I look at it. This is a game that Michigan is actually favored in Vegas by 1.5. How does that make you feel? You say, wow, shouldn't Michigan State be? I thought Michigan State would be favored by a point or two, and it's actually Michigan is favored by 1.5. So I think Vegas is telling you Michigan's a popular team to bet, but Vegas is telling you, okay, take Michigan State. They're the underdog in this one if you really feel by a little bit. And as I get to my prediction, Michigan, no, they don't win up in East Lansing very often. Yes, it is Tom Izzo's birthday. Yeah, it's true. Michigan has not been playing their best basketball when you compare the entire season. But I also feel like this is a team that has shown that they can be, for a prolonged period, one of the better teams in the country. And actually the best team in the country. And that's why for this season, when I think about Michigan's won one national title, I'm not thinking about, the Big Ten regular season, fine, Big Ten tournament. I love all that. Love to have a number one seed. Love to be the number one team in the country. Sweeping MSU, if you're having a magical season along the way, there's these things that you can do. Tonight is one of those games. This is one of these where I want, whether they put the DVD out, the magical run of 25-26 Michigan basketball, whether you're going to write a book about this magical season, somebody will. This is the kind of game that you're in a chapter that you want to go Michigan's way. That's why I am going to predict Michigan to win this game by a score of 80-75. You want to be a great team? They have been talked about being a great team. You want to win a national championship? Go do some things that you're not expected to do. You're not expected, even though they're favorite tonight. They're not. I don't think people, again, expect them to win the game. Go win the game on the road and show everybody that you're back and that you are right there with Arizona as a team, whoever else you want to say, Houston, put anybody else up there that you want. You are one of those, Gonzaga, you've already, Duke. You are one of these teams that is the talk of college basketball. To stay the talk of college basketball, you win tonight. You say, oh, hey, that's Michigan. They don't win up there very often. They lose. It's kind of like, well, this is, it's expected. All those, Tom Izzo's tough at home, all those things. But I'm predicting that they're going to win this game. I think this team is special. They haven't looked special the last few games, but I think they need to get back and being special. That's why I have them winning tonight's game, 80-75. That's what I see. I'll take some feedback, and then we'll tell you about the plans for the rest of the night. How about that? Let's take the feedback. Under par, 68. Sounds beautiful. Dennis, the last two games, Michigan has shot 22 and 23% from three. Can Michigan win those games win this game with those numbers tonight? No, I don't think so. No, I think it's you're going to need to be over 30. And if you go cold, the idea of going inside out, yes. And if you're not making a lot, driving, passing up some of those threes, I think that's going to be one of the very interesting things to watch if Dusty draws up the plays. I mean, it's such a let's get the ball, let's get it up quick, let's take things, and let's take open shots in the rhythm. Dusty talks about flow a lot. Well, if the flow is over and a lot of missed shots, it's like Yaks misses his first two. Do I want Yaks jacking up a 25-footer in the offense, in the flow? No, I don't. If wide open in the short corner, I would want him to do it if he was 0 for 2, but I might put him down on the post, change this thing up to do it. So I think that is how I see that. Here's some more on the feedback. Hadley, I bet he's doing the doubleheader. He says you can probably count on no more than two hands how many Big Ten teams have beaten Moo U at the Brez since 2000. Yeah, they've been good, and it's a tough place to play. Rip's not buying it. He's got Michigan 102-67 now. That would be somewhat unbelievable. But it would be a statement game. And I'll tell you this, maybe I need to get some, I'm predicting Michigan to win. Bounce back for Yaks. Tonight could be a chug the Borg on a Friday night. I'm going to have to look. I got to remember. What am I going to put in there? I'm going to have to go look at the cabinets, check it out. I feel good. I feel like Michigan, Dusty had his indoctrination last year. Remember where you had Fat and LJ, standing at the center court, and the Spartans just completely freaked out. Holloman's all up in their face, started pushing the guys, and that there was the typical next couple days of nobody cared about talking about the game. It was just that Michigan this, Michigan that. I was at that news conference for Dusty on that Monday, and Dusty really didn't get it. He's like, I didn't know. How was I supposed to know? And part of that, you get it. It was his first time. Should somebody have went up to him and say, hey, Dusty, if we lose, they're going to be kissing the floor. Tell the guys to get out of there. They're not thinking about the idea of, oh, hey, if we lose. But the questions were, because somebody from Detroit came in and was asking him again about the, pushing and shoving, kissing the floor, and Dusty afterwards was, still when the cameras went off and everything. I'm making some hand gestures, and I could tell that he was surprised at just what a mountain people were still making about that. He did not think that was all that big of a deal. Did you think that was a big deal that, here they are coming in when Dusty didn't know about it? I'm talking, that's my dog voice. He didn't think it was that big of a deal. Now he knows. He knows in all rivalries, the fans, they act, everything's petty, but there's no more of a petty rivalry than Michigan and Michigan State. The fans, the pettiness, any little perceived small slight. And then Tom Izzo, that wasn't going to happen in our court. So I know that Dusty's got that in the back of his mind. He understands that now. Maybe he had to go through it. But he knows, and I know a lot of these players, they've never played up there and they don't know. But I saw Burnett this week. He said, "Yeah, okay." Gale, expecting the most physical game. Burnett, all of that. No, you can't lick the keyboard. You can't do that. Licking the keyboard. MGB would love to see Cheddar or Gale or Trey hit some shots tonight off the bench. I am going to make a prediction of Trey McKinney, who went off in high school up at the Breslin Center. I've been thinking that his ascension, Trey McKinney taking over and being one of the key go-to players, this would be a great night for that to happen. So out of those three, give me Trey McKinney. I'm sorry, what did the NRS call the plug? Call the plug. Yeah, there's not going to be any Coca-Cola in the Borg tonight. We'll see. I am going to look around. The SDG is talking about if Michigan hits 35% or higher from three, they will win by double digits. The dog is the same color as the Michigan lettering in the pennant, maize. Well, her nickname is Red. She's got a red, mostly she has a red field golden retriever. Sometimes she looks a lot more red than others. You're saying she's the same, she's a maize color. Saying you look more maize than red. Let's see. Let's see if we can get you over here. Come here. Come here. Let's get that. See, she's red. Red. All right. If you don't want him to lick the keyboard, then why did you eat those Cheetos? There's probably more than Cheetos in that keyboard. It's a good point about that. Well, she's ready. I'm ready. Announcement tonight. Ouch. If you're on the Maize and Blue Review, tonight's a really good time. Show us going to the dogs. Tonight is a really good time to join the Maize and Blue Review. It's always a good time, but I think tonight I am going to be running the live game thread. And that's where at every time out, I put some kind of factoid, tell everybody what's going on. And then also, making points that happened during the game, just discussing the game. So that's going on. So you get that immediately tonight at 8:00. You'll see me on there running that live thread. I'll be running it. And it's a little tight. Let's take this collar off. Always adjusting these. Got one of these beeping collars, shock collars. And it's a little bit too tight, I think. But you know what? It almost needs to be tight on her because I don't think it's a very shocking to her because she runs through it a lot, but it does work. But it seemed a little tight there. What was my point? Oh, yeah. Join up with the Maize and Blue Review. Go to On3, double click, get instant access. Not just the live game tonight, but it's almost worth it just for that, just for the live game threads. But also all of the basketball news, recruiting, football. You really do want to know about special teams and all those 5 visitors that Kyle Whittingham is out and the targets and all that. That's all going on in the Maize and Blue Review. So check that out. And then afterwards, after the game, I say immediately afterwards, could be a couple minutes after the ball game tonight, we'll be firing it up on this very channel that you're watching or listening to tonight. And we will have the Michigan basketball post-game live show. There it is. This one right here. After the game tonight, we'll be talking all about it, what happens. Michigan getting the victory in East Lansing. Chase is excited for tonight's game. He's hoping for less turnovers and better perimeter defense. Not bad things to hope for. Let's enjoy it. I think it's going to be a great game. And I will be here afterwards until tonight after the Michigan State game. Have a great afternoon and evening. I will talk with you after.